If you struggle to lose belly fat, body fat, chest fat, or any fat, then these are 3 of the biggest mistakes to avoid. And at the end, I'm also gonna run over how our body burns calories on a daily basis so you can actually lose this body fat. But before that, you need to see this. Number 1 is food volume versus sneaky calories. Sneaky calories is simple things that I consider to fly under the radar, like sauces, oils in the pan, milks in your coffee, and stuff like that. For a perfect example, this little tub of garlic aioli sauce right here, 2 serves, has 300 calories in that little amount of sauce right there, compared to you could eat this entire chicken salad with 1 whole egg plus this Peronaise sauce on top, 1 serve of that, for the exact same amount, which is 300 calories. Because most of the time, if we're eating out and we say, hey, I'm gonna be healthy, I'm gonna stick to a good option, you pick something like a simple chicken salad, which is a great option, but then majority of the time, we're gonna slap something like this garlic aioli sauce on top, and now instead of being a low calorie, high protein salad, it's now 600 calories. This is how easy these sauces and things like that can rack up. Number 2 is simply eyeballing our foods and eating way more than we think. There's actually a very well-known study on this, and basically it just showed that people can underestimate the amount of food that they eat by up to 50%. So for an example of what this might look like, when it comes to delicious foods as well, it's very hard to eyeball and actually portion size if you're not weighing it out in grams. Even if you are tracking your foods with like a tablespoon, this is realistically, I weighed this out in grams, this is 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. Like, let's be real, that's nothing. It's 92 calories for that right there. Now, especially if you're on a diet, you're hungry, you get something like peanut butter, a tablespoon is probably more realistically gonna look like something like this, which is actually 3 tablespoons when you weigh it out in grams, which is 276 calories. And this is to simply show that even with a quote unquote healthy option like peanut butter, the calories can still rack up so fast. And what I've noticed with our clients and just my own personal experience, especially when it's a quote unquote healthy food, you actually feel less guilty about having more. You just think that it's gonna be less. Let me show you what a processed food option can look like. Check this out. This delicious Oreo ice cream right here. Now, when you look at the back, 120 calories per serve. Thinking that's actually not too bad, but here's the problem. If you've never weighed stuff in grams before, you've never tracked your calories or macros, let me show you what this serve actually looks like. So, 120 calories per serve, but serving size is 50 grams. This is gonna make you very, very sad. That's 55 grams right there. That's actually depressing. I don't even need a bowl. So that right there is actually over 120 calories. If I was gonna do this and I wasn't weighing it and I was like, let me just have a serve, or let me have what I would think. I'm gonna try and be conservative here because I do have an appetite of an absolute warthog. So let me just see. I would like, in my opinion, this is quite conservative, that was 3 tablespoons. That's 150 grams for that amount of ice cream right there, which is absolutely tiny. Like, let's be real, that's gonna be gone in like 30 seconds, and that is 360 calories, as usual, fast maths. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you have to track calories forever, and every single time you're eating ice cream, you wanna be weighing it out, and that's definitely not what I'm saying. That's not the case at all. But if you've never tracked your calories before, if you've never weighed stuff out in grams, not just cups and tablespoons, I highly, highly recommend you spend some period of time doing that, as when you do stuff like this, it will make you realize how many calories are in not just processed foods, but like we just showed, healthy foods and all other foods that you wouldn't even expect to be super high calorie. Now, number 3 is simply knowing how we burn calories on a daily basis is an absolute must. And honestly, this is probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make. Because if you don't know this and just understand the very, very basics, which we're gonna go through now, you're gonna put a lot of time, effort, and energy into the wrong places, which is gonna lead to overwhelm, frustration, and it's gonna piss you off when you don't get anywhere, and then you're gonna quit. Because if you don't know this, it'll be like pushing a car with the handbrake on. So simply knowing this, we're gonna take that handbrake off and make it so much easier. So to get started, if I start eating this chocolate bar right now, I'm actually burning calories while I eat this. Then how come people make videos saying you have to do 30 minutes of Stairmaster or X amount of minutes on the treadmill just to burn 1 chocolate bar? I'm sure you've probably seen those floating around the internet. They're very, very popular, and that's simply because they're only telling you one part of the equation and they're missing the other 3. So that is the first part of the equation, which is this representing the amount of calories that we burn on a daily basis from our exercise, training, gym workouts, etc. But the thing is, that only equates to about 5 to 10% of our total daily calories burned. So now you know that, you can see just focusing on trying to burn calories through exercise is not ideal. So the second thing that equates to the calories we burn is actually when we eat food. So whenever we eat food, our body digests it, it takes calories to do that. And as a side note, protein takes the most calories, like we burn the most calories when we eat protein. So that's just another great reason why you should have a high protein diet. This also equates to about 5 to 10% of our total daily calories burned. Now next, we have what I'm doing right now, fidgeting with my hands, just pretty much doing normal everyday people shit that isn't structured exercise. This is called NEAT. Now this equates to about 20 to 30% of our total daily calories burned. And last but not least, we have the big boy, the big guns, our BMR, AKA who we are, so weight, height, age. Pretty much me just sitting here, doing nothing all day, being alive, that will burn 60% of our total daily calories. So this all together, these 4 tubs represent the amount of calories you burn on a daily basis, and that's how they're broken down. So what all this simply means is you want to be putting the focus and effort into the correct places. So like we said, if you eat a chocolate bar and you don't want to be trying to burn it off, because that's going to be absolutely depressing and you're going to end up hating your training. So the best thing to focus on is simply focusing on the actual food you intake on a daily basis, so focusing on the total calories you eat, as that is going to be the biggest needle mover. And then when it comes to actually training, train for the other billion beneficial reasons that we get, and I like to think as the calories burned through our training is just a nice little cherry on top. So now you know how our body burns calories on a daily basis, you know those other 2 things to look out for, which would be highly, highly beneficial. If you want to start tracking your calories, which I highly recommend if you've never done before, like we spoke about, and kind of use this to your advantage, I'll pop a macro calculator in the description. It's completely free. You can use that to figure out your starting calories and macros, and then start aiming for that with the calories you eat. Let the training do its thing, let your daily movement do its thing, and you'll be totally sweet. And if you find these simple fat loss videos helpful, then I recommend checking out this one here. I'm sure you're gonna love that one too.